folks, welcome to a session about football, which is a topic that I've been missing badly. It's been now, I don't know, maybe 2 months since I had this topic in my podcast, and I'm glad to have it back. And for that purpose, I have Cornell, that you probably remember from the League of Ireland podcast on Thursday. I have Jeroen, who was here for the discussion on last season together with Cornell, and we have a very strong acquisition. We have Benny, so I'm very looking forward to hear insights from all of you guys. And to add more fuel to the fire, they all support different teams in the Premier League, so it is going to be entertaining for sure. We all know how Cornell is crazy for Liverpool. Jeroen is not hiding it. He's a massive Chelsea fan, and guess what? Benny is a massive supporter of Arsenal. And for those who don't remember, I'm also a fan of Spurs. But let's not go any further when it comes to Spurs. Let's just say that I'm a fan of Spurs, and I can handle that with a bottle of whiskey. If you are into the topic, stay around for the next 90 minutes. Make sure to use the chat box to submit your questions, your comments, concerns. Make sure this is interactive, because I want this to be dynamic and enjoyable for everyone involved. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'll be grateful if you can. And if you know someone who's into this, the best way you can do to distribute the content is to press the share button. Next to it, there's another button, which is important. It's the like button. So if you are satisfied with what you do here, I'll be very grateful if you can press that button. So we have a lot to go through. It won't be only Premier League. We'll discuss some of the European leagues and also the UEFA and FIFA competitions, and there'll be a quick fire at the end. So plenty to go through. Thank you, gents, for joining. I'm very looking forward for this session, and let's crack on. But before we get into the discussion, I would like to have a minute of silence for the Jota brothers and Jorge Costa. They were massive losses for not only for football, but I think for humanity. So, with your permission, I will ask for a minute of silence. Right. Thank you very much. I just want to add that I remember Jorge Costa very well. I'm a Porto fan, and if there was a player who would do everything to dignify the jersey, that was Jorge Costa. He was probably one of the last who would never walk away from his duty. So he was a captain in all senses, and of course Jota was also huge when it comes to the European or the Portuguese achievements recently. So my heart goes to the families at this point. Right, let's start talking about Premier League. Ben, you are the new acquisition. Everyone is looking forward to hear from you. So I'm going to start with you. And why not? So let me know your predictions for the upcoming season that just started with Crystal Palace upsetting Liverpool. Cornell, you'll be able to defend yourself. Yeah? Don't worry.
Yeah, I will.
I think that was a good game for the Charity Shield. I must say, Crystal Palace played. I mean, the first 20 minutes, Liverpool were, on top of their game, as expected. Everyone expected them to do that, in consideration to the players they've added from last season and the quality they have in their squad as well. So, but with the game of football, you can always expect the underdogs to do something. So when Crystal Palace got the penalty, and that changed the game completely, and the pressure mounted more on Liverpool. But getting to the time Crystal Palace scored their second goal, that was when I knew that this could go either way now. At first you say, okay, brother, when they scored the second goal, you knew that it could go either way, in consideration that Crystal Palace, they did it against CE in the final of FA Cup. There was a possibility they could do it again. So looking at it at that point, I was like, okay, something could happen here. And then it happened. And kudos to them and fair play to them. I suppose, waiting for so long for a trophy, and all of a sudden, within few months, you have two, and that will give them a boost going into the new season as well. Because Charity Shield, if you look at World Super the Super Cup yesterday as well, this gives a team a boost. Whether you consider it as a trophy or not, it's still a boost to the team to say we've won something, and we won something against Liverpool. That is good for them. Going into predictions, I just want to stay away from predictions this season, to be honest. I can say to you, you're dying. I can say to you that I would say this is my top four, but whichever one, I think it's going to be very, very competitive season, to be honest, looking at the squads and looking at the players. Chelsea's looking good. They are looking like a formidable team this season, right? Man City, you can wash away Man City like that. You can say Man City can't do anything. They can't come back. This is still Pep Guardiola at the end of the day. Now, Arsenal, consistent second for over 3 seasons. So they are still there. Then the defending champions, Liverpool. Liverpool has done incredibly well in the market so far. And the players they've added from what they had last season is exceptional. So if you push me to the wall and say you must give your prediction for next season, I would say Liverpool might win it again. And that's all. I can say Roma is flying there. That's my honest opinion.
Cornell, if you don't mind, I want to keep you waiting because I think there's a lot you want to say just for suspense. Your thoughts on this Premier League? It seems to me from your body language that it's very hard to put money on a team. Am I right? That's your understanding of the season?
Well, my personal feeling is that I'd be with Benny. I think Liverpool are going to win it. I'm pretty sure of it. They have the experience of winning it very recently. They have a really good manager. They've strengthened their team all over the pitch, really. They've done a very un-Liverpool thing and spent a lot of money on a lot of very good players, a lot of players that a lot of other teams were looking at and were trying to get. And I think for me, they're going to win the Premiership. For me, I think, and I know that the other guys are not going to agree with me, but for me, I think Chelsea's going to come second, Liverpool first, Chelsea second, City third, because as Benny said, you can't rule them out. But I do think that City got a real problem last year. They didn't know. I think they got found out. So for the first time ever, Pep got really found out, and he's going to miss De Bruyne. Like he's lost a lot of players, a lot of very good players. There's also a lot of new players that have to sort of bed in, and I've got the feeling that Haaland is just a bit, I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how it goes, but I think that they're going to be third, and I think Arsenal are going to come fourth. And my reasoning is that Arsenal finally have a striker. And he's world class. I mean, this guy is the guy that they needed. I just feel that Arsenal they've strengthened in certain bits, and thanks for buying Kepa, and thanks for buying like Arsenal. Arsenal are to us like, we are to Brighton. Basically, we're Brighton's biggest customer. We're going to buy everybody that Brighton has, and Arsenal come and buy everybody that we have. But look, Madueke, great player. I think that you really strengthened in a lot of areas, but I just don't think that you're going to get past fourth. That's kind of where I see it happening. And the reason why I think that Chelsea are going to come second, we have really strengthened in a lot of positions on the pitch. and we got rid of a lot of players that maybe weren't working or whatever. And I do think that Maresca has what it takes to get up to second. So that's my prediction. We'll see how it goes, but I think Liverpool are going to win it hands down. I don't see anybody getting close. It's it's not gonna. It's gonna be Liverpool season all the way.
So Cornell, so far our two friends here are naming your team as the favorite. I would say you would agree.
Yeah, definitely. Liverpool will be favourites to win the Premier League title again, despite the speculation and rumours around Isaac coming to Liverpool or not. I think, look, first of all, congratulations to Crystal Palace on winning the FA Community Shield, despite that Liverpool was on top. Obviously, we saw from that game that Inner TK is going to be something special, along with Wirtz and Frimpong. Kirkes, I think, is going to be a very class player as well, especially competing with Robertson, and obviously Tsimikas is no longer there now, so that's a massive boost for that left flank. For prediction wise, I think obviously Liverpool will be finishing first because they've really strengthened in the summer transfer window. They've spent the most money, more than the other clubs, because I think to buy in TK is not that simple. He's been bossing it in the Bundesliga. Obviously was top scorer in the top 4, top 5. Obviously you've got Wirtz, who was Bayer Leverkusen's best player. It wasn't easy to buy him because there was other clubs that were looking at him too, but obviously he chose Liverpool over the other clubs. Kirkes, obviously last season was Bournemouth's best left back, and obviously to see Kirkes go to Liverpool and really show his class, I think is fantastic. Frimpong, honestly, from time that Liverpool played against Bayer Leverkusen, I said that Frimpong has to be at Liverpool and definitely be the best replacement for Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he even runs 10 times better than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, the only thing I do worry is our defense. I think Liverpool's defense is the massive worry at the moment because Van Dijk came out just after Liverpool lost to Crystal Palace and said we need a striker and we need a centre back. Liverpool does need a centre back because if Konate don't sign the new contract, then I think he could be leaving this summer, and especially Real Madrid looking at him. And I think obviously with Giovanni Leone coming in from the Serie A from Parma, I think that's going to be a huge upgrade. Mark Guehi, I think Slot is not joking about with bringing not one but two new centre backs to Liverpool. I think that's the key. So I think if you can get those two through the door, I think Liverpool's defence will be absolutely strengthened. Do need a striker to link up with Inner TK, because if Inner TK is injured, then I think it's going to be real serious problems. But asking for predictions, Liverpool first. Chelsea, as has been said, Chelsea have strengthened. Joe Pereiro, Liam Delap are going to be ones to watch. I think they'll be ones to watch, I think, for Chelsea. And I think Cole Palmer, I think this is his year for him to really shine and really outsmart, certain teams and certain players. For me personally, third place, Manchester City is going to finish third because it's like it's been said. Guardiola was founded out last season. Guardiola knew that he didn't have the reinforcements to really compete with Liverpool, and that's why Liverpool went on to win the title last season, because they had the better squad and the better team. Yes, they didn't spend as much money. They only spent on Federico Chiesa, who I believe is an absolute flop. I don't know what possessed Slot to go and buy him. I don't know what it was. I would get rid of him, but it looks like he's going to stay. But I think for me, there's better out for him. Look, I expect it to be very competitive, which it will, and I believe that in all due respect. But Manchester City will finish third for me. Fourth is Arsenal, because Arsenal needed a striker. Yeah, last season they were relying on Saka to actually do something for Arsenal. He got basically injured, and it was a massive worry for Arsenal. And the more times they've been in transfer windows over the years, they haven't got a striker. The last striker they had was Aubameyang, and Aubameyang tore the place apart. But I think Arsenal, for me, will finish fourth. And I think, look, they've strengthened up front with Corcoran. I think Corcoran will get them the goals, because I think it's a real shame they didn't sign him last season. But I think, yes, maybe might be a few missing jigsaw puzzles in Arsenal's team, but I think they look very good with Norgard and Martin Zebamendi and, of course, Norsgaard. But look, listen, I think, as I've always said, Liverpool's winning it again. If they get Isaac, which probably I'm being optimistic, I think they will get him. But if they do, I'm sorry, the title's going to Liverpool, and Liverpool's winning the quadruple this new season.
None of you mentioned Manchester United, and I'm wondering what's the reason. You don't dare to say a word on Man United's fate. Any brave gentlemen here?
Well, I just think that where Man United, for me, okay, yeah, they've spent 200 million. They brought in very decent players. They brought in players that everybody else was looking at, but they got them. But they're untried, they're untested together. They're going to be three, strikers, let's say, playing more or less around the same position. And I think that the big problem that Man United have is that Amorim is so stuck in that system. And that's where, okay, they've strengthened, they brought in some good players, hats off, they've spent a lot of money, but he's not willing to change his system. And that is where they're going to really struggle. And I would say that they're going to finish around 7th. They're going to do a lot better than last year, sure, but they're not going to finish higher than 7th, despite having spent all the money and all that, because he's so stuck on that, way of working. I think that worked in the Portuguese League, great, but it doesn't work in the Premiership, and that's where he's going to fall apart. And I don't think he's going to be in the job at the end of the year, to be honest with you.
The other team that was not referred and did very well last year was Newcastle. What's your prediction for this year, Benny?
I think there's so much guys are calling out with so much 100% that this is going to happen. But look, this is football. We expect and anything. Injuries will happen, guys. Injuries will happen. But the way you're saying Liverpool is going to win it, we might see some surprises. To be honest with you, I think this season there will be a lot of surprises. Injuries will happen, coaches will get sacked, and also consider that these guys who are playing in Champions League are going to play FA Cup, going to play Nations League, and as well next season is also World Cup. So there will be so dynamic, so many things will play out that the clubs we are predicting might win the league might not even get near it. Now with Newcastle, right? I wish and I hope that Isak stays. Newcastle is that team that everybody kind of has a flair for. I kind of like them one way or the other. With Liverpool being a bit greedy and wanting everybody at the same time. It's best for Isak to stay in Newcastle. And they have actually, if you look at it, considering the ownership of the club, what they should be able to tie him down. Don't let him go. Let him sit there, and if he doesn't want to train, let him not train. Let him sit there. A bit of discipline and say, stick here, don't go anywhere. He's under 6 years contract, so there is no need to sell him. Let him stick there. So, in consideration to you asking me what I think, Newcastle will knock the door for fourth place within the top 4. If they don't get it, I see them in top 6, obviously. Then Man United will be the same thing as well. Man United, they have gathered good players. at the moment, if you look at Sesko, is a good striker. He is bullish, and he fits Premier League. That scoreboard that comes with that energy, and he is another Haaland in such a way. Then Kuna and Bueno are already tested. They are good players in Premier League. They are not coming from another league completely. They are well known, so they would give a tough game. Even the first game of the season with Arsenal is going to be a very tough game for Arsenal. So I would think both Newcastle and United will find themselves within the top 8. Anything within top 8 is a good season for United, considering they finished 15th or 16th last season. So it's a good season for them. Yeah.
Cornell, there's another underdog who did well last year, was Aston Villa. Is it still a team to consider this year, or their golden age is gone?
I think Aston Villa are looking very, very good this year. I think they're a team, and they missed out on European place, which was very upsetting for them. They worked very, very hard to be in the position that they deserve to be. I mean, Ollie Watkins, I think, is going to be very, very key for Aston Villa this year, especially in goal scoring ability. And obviously Kwanzaa as well at the back, I think, is also going to be one to watch as well. Marlon as well, especially on that right side, despite there's a bit of doubts about Rodgers' ankle injury at the moment. But look, I think Aston Villa are ones to watch this year, and I think if they can carry on that amazing form that they've been doing in pre-season, I think, and take it into the new season against Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle obviously, look, they obviously still want to keep hold of Isaac because they know that Liverpool really want him to go into their team. But I think, like, if Newcastle can get a good run going, I think they'll be all right. But I think with Gordon and them lot as well, I think they'll have a good season, and I think it will be very interesting to see what they do. But Villa, I think they'll be in and around the top 6 this year.
Let's travel north towards Scotland. I heard, Ben, you are a specialist when it comes to the Scottish League, so looking forward to hear your insights on this season. Some say it's already done. Some say you can put all your Bitcoin on Celtic. Is it right to be that confident at this point?
I mean, look, with anything that comes out of the English press will make it look terrible as long as they are good. But the thing is this: Scottish League is competitive, right? If you consider Van Dijk played in that league, so many good players have come out from that league. Tierney played in that league. Liverpool vice captain played in that league. So you can just wish it away. Now, looking at this, Celtic will continuously do well because of the fan base and the kind of money they have, and then Rangers as well, with the fan base and the money they have, in comparison to Aberdeen, to Hearts, to Hibs, to Dundee United, and the rest of them. So that is why most times you say Celtic is doing so well, because they can afford to get the best of qualities. You put it in comparison to when Man City were bought by the Abu Dhabis, you find out there was enough money for them to buy good players and buy the quality they wanted. Or Chelsea, when Abramovich took over, they had the money to buy the right players. Same thing happens with in Scottish League. There is not enough money to go around the team, so for them to buy quality players that can compete at all levels. So looking at it, there's a possibility of Rangers, coming back strongly this season. So it has always been Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen. Maybe Hibs and Hearts can push and get something, but it always be my money will be on Celtic this season as well, and with Rogers there, staying another season as well, so it's still gonna be Celtic. Yeah.
Right. Cornell, I know you pay a lot of attention to League One because your local team Lincoln is there. So I'd like to get your thoughts on non-League One, but also Championship, because I think it's so competitive that we cannot skip. So over to you.
The Championship is very competitive this year. You've got obviously you've got Birmingham and Wrexham up there this year. They're going to be contenders to win the Sky Bet League Championship. You've definitely got Wrexham who just got promoted from League One last season, so I think it's going to be a very, very competitive league, especially with them two. Obviously, Coventry will be up there this year after missing out on the playoffs, which basically, it was very heartbreaking for them because they were so close to being in the playoffs. Obviously, I think relegation battle, I think, will be Oxford United. I think QPR will definitely be one of them, even though I think they'll do well to stay up. Top six, I think Millwall will definitely be in and around there because I think it's their year for them to really do something special. Charlton, I think, will find their feet as well. So it's very competitive this year of what I believe the Championship is going to be. League One, obviously, Huddersfield, top of the table, absolutely killing it, especially with the money that they've spent, especially on Alfie May as their main striker from Birmingham. Orient and Stockport will be in and around the automatic promotion spots as well. Obviously, playoffs is going to be very interesting as well. I do see us Lincoln City being in around it, as long as we can get a left back and bring in a central midfield and a defensive midfielder and a winger and possibly a striker just to ease off the pressure off Michael Skabala. League Two, obviously, can't believe I'm saying it, but I think Grimsby are going to be favourite to win League Two this year, especially with the form that they're in at the moment. So there are some very, very interesting. I think Fleetwood will be in around the automatics as well, so it wouldn't be surprising if they go on and try and compete as well. So it's very competitive in the Sky Bet EFL football, but definitely I think Birmingham or Wrexham will win the Championship. Huddersfield will win it because they're looking the team at the moment that no one does want to be playing. League Two, I think, will be us Lincoln City's arch rivals, Grimsby Town. I think will probably go on and win it. So it's going to be very, very competitive this year.
Okay, so with that we move to Europe or the continent. Maybe we'll start with the Bundesliga, Jeroen. Is it another boring year for Bayern, or we can see Leverkusen, not necessarily Leverkusen, but Leverkusen lifting the trophy?
To be honest with you, I can only see Bayern lifting the trophy. It would be great for the competition if somebody else could lift the trophy, but I think it's only going to be Bayern. They've strengthened quite a bit, and there's a bit of talk about a few other players that are coming, maybe possibly from the Premiership, and I don't see many teams challenging them. You would think that Leverkusen would be up and around it, but without Xabi Alonso, etc., that's going to be tricky, I think. And they've sold a lot of good players as well. There's not really any other teams that you could say definitely are going to challenge them. So unfortunately, I do see it being another boring season in the Bundesliga, where it's probably more interesting to see where the bottom or the sort of relegation or the mid-table is, But I don't see anybody touching Bayern, to be honest with you. They, like Harry Kane, like he's scoring for fun there. And I mean, they've strengthened, so you would imagine that like they just are going to take the title straight away, and that's the thing about the German league a little bit. It's almost like the French league as well. You kind of know, well, who's going to be champion. Like you'd love in the French league that somebody, I don't know, Monaco or another team, Marseille, whoever would come up. PSG are just so strong there. So, same thing. It's pretty much nailed on. Bayern are going to be champions in Germany without too much problems, I don't imagine, or competition, to be honest. It's not a very competitive league in my estimation. So yeah, it'll be interesting. And France is exactly the same. So France, I mean, for PSG, it's almost like a walkover, and okay, other teams come up and they but they don't really challenge PSG. PSG for them, it's almost like, well, let's just get Ligue sorted out and win it, and then we'll go on and we'll do the Champions League or whatever else. And they have become a very strong team, PSG. I really think that they'll be in and around the top of the Champions League this year. They may even win it again. I think they're a seriously strong team, and they have a very, very good manager. The league, the French league, is almost like a byproduct for them. That's not really what they really want to be doing. They just want to be in the Champions League, and they could win it again very easily. To be honest, I was very surprised that Chelsea beat them in the World Cup, the Club World Cup, whatever the hell it's called. I never saw that coming. I thought we were going to get an absolute hammering, and it was the other way around. But that's an unusual one for PSG. I think PSG are going to be very strong in Europe and in obviously in the French league as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I just start to think, like, from a motivation point of view, what are they for this year? Because they won it all. They won the Champions League last year. They know they're going to win the French league. So, what sort of stamina can they feel? Because they basically lifted everything. So I wonder how Luis Enrique, which I think is a great manager, as you said, Jeroen, will instigate the players to do their best on the pitch. How much can that affect PSG, Benny, in your opinion?
I think, like Jeroen said, PSG will definitely do it again in French League on, but Champions League, it might be a bit dicey this year because you can say so many clubs didn't take them that serious last season. Now they are the champions. Everybody wants to play them and beat them. So the competition will be stepped up. Now, looking at how Luis Enrique has always been a good coach and manager. I mean, look at what he has done to the keeper right now. He's just completely. I've told him to go away, and that's it. And the good thing is that the owners of the club have given him that leeway to do what he wants to do. Exactly what he did to Dembele last season. He told him to get up and be the best, or he's out. And he stepped up. And now we're talking about Ballon d'Or for him. So he has that character to be able to push players to the next level, and he would get it possibly. I see PSG getting to Champions League semi-final at least, but to get to the final, I hope so. In consideration to that's to what I'm wearing, I hope so. But look, it's gonna be a tough one because now all the clubs actually knows that PSG is top of it. Madrid will be back again. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Bayern as well. But there's another question I wanted to ask you, Jeroen, is this: with German League, what do you think about Borussia Dortmund? Because I mean, they got Bellingham at the moment, so they've added two players. Leverkusen they've lost a lot of good players. We seem to forget that Xhaka has moved to Sunderland now, so he has left. So what do you think about Borussia Dortmund?
I don't know. They may challenge for a period of time, and they may be that sort of slight outsider that would, but still they're not gonna scratch the surface with Bayern. They're really not, and I don't think there's any team that can in Germany that can touch them unless Bayern implode, which is always possible. We saw it with City last year in the Premiership. It's always possible that a really good team, for some reason, implodes. But I don't see it happening. Yeah, they may challenge for a little while, yeah, but I don't think they'll do what Leverkusen did, in the last couple of years, or, I just don't see it. But I might be wrong, but I just think that Bayern have gone out and bought strong, and they just have that winning mentality. And I think in Germany that they're. But yeah, look, they're an option, but I just don't think they're gonna really push it too hard.
Okay.
Right. Let's move to La Liga, Cornell. So the traditional two are Barcelona and Madrid. As we know, Madrid just changed manager, and for sure there will be an impact. And I'd like to get your understanding of the Xabi Alonso now managing Madrid. And there's also Atletico, who have a structure that has been in place for many, many years. And there are always a team to consider. So how do you see La Liga among those three?
I think the Liga is going to be very competitive once again for the brand new season. I think we're going to see a very different side to Atletico Madrid. I think Diego Simeone, is good to restructure his team. Obviously, I think they'll look favourites to be the new challengers for the Liga title. Barcelona obviously won it last season thanks to Robert Lewandowski's goal scoring threat. The impacts of Pedri, who's been sensational. Gavi as well, who's also been outstanding as well. Obviously, I do worry about Barcelona's back line. Excuse me. To be honest, because honestly, it's been good. There's been times where it's been great, and then there's times where it hasn't been great. So I think I do worry about Barcelona's back line. But going forward, they always cause a major threat, and I think if they can keep Lewandowski fit, then I think they'll be all right. Real Madrid, excuse me. I think Real Madrid for me are a team that I think is going to be very favourites to watch this year because of new management. Xabi Alonso, I think, has been a manager that I think will really excite a lot of Liga fans since being appointed, and he's winning the Liga with Bayer Leverkusen, who's not been at their best in the Bundesliga. But I think Xabi Alonso will get the best out of Real Madrid. He'll try and dominate the Liga as he can and really put out his best structure. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think, would be one to watch. But I think if you're asking, I think who could be their top scorer of the Liga this year, I would not be surprised that it's Mbappe this year. Mbappe missed out on scoring goals last season because of Lewandowski's dominance and how Lewandowski impacted the Liga. But I do believe that this new season will be Mbappe's year to really start scoring goals. I think we're going to see the very best of Vinicius Junior if he can stay. Obviously, it's despite getting attraction from Saudi Arabian clubs. Rodrigo, obviously the hot prospect, even though he's not probably part of Xabi Alonso's squad. Spurs and Liverpool want him, so it'll be very interesting to see how he fits in as well. But I just think it's going to be a three-horse race between Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and Barca this year. But I think Real Madrid will finish first because they're looking more likely to really start getting back to their dominant self. Barcelona, I think, will be second, because I think Real Madrid will be too strong for them. Atletico Madrid, I think, will be third. I think if they can finish as runners-up, I think will be fantastic for them. You got the underdogs as well. You've got Atletico Bilbao, obviously, with Anki Williams and Nico. I think they'll be looking for a say on it as well, and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be very competitive in the Liga, but I think it's Real Madrid's year. I think they'll definitely win it this year.
Well, staying in that part of Europe, I'm going to say a couple of sentences about the Primeira Liga, or the Portuguese league. So I'm not going to be biased here, and I'll say right away that I think Benfica are the favorites. And I'm not saying that out loud, because my father just arrived today, who is a big Benfica fan. I truly believe that, and I'm not happy with it. But I can see that the team is compact. They know what they are doing. There is a positive communication between the coach and the squad, and of course that has a massive impact on the pitch, and the results will show up. And as a matter of fact, they're starting the season pretty well, and I think they're going to be happy in May when they lift the trophy. I don't think Sporting Lisbon will be as good as they were in the last 2 years. They were struggling in the last couple of months. I think the season would have lasted another month or two. Benfica would have won the title. So I wouldn't put my money on Sporting Lisbon. I don't even think they're going to finish second. I think there will be a massive dispute for the runners-up position between themselves and FC Porto. And I don't say that as a Porto fan. I can see we are improving, but to my estimation, the issue is that Villas-Boas keeps hiring managers that are not much experienced. So I think Villas-Boas doesn't want to hire a manager who is older than him, because he wants to have the upper hand. So I think he is being very selfish with that. I don't think the man is listening to me, but that's exactly how I see it. I think he's putting the club ahead of him, and that's something that our last president never did. Maybe in the last few years, as he was aging, things went all over the place. But I think the issue with Porto is that there are priorities that are not the club, and if we keep that mentality, the one who will be happy about it. It won't be the Porto fan base. It will be Benfica. So unfortunately, I see Benfica winning the title. We could win, let's say, the cup if you are lucky, because I can see some improvements. But we need someone who knows the game from inside out. And I know that age is not everything, but it counts. Like with everything else, experience is vital. So my prediction, with a lot of sadness, goes for Benfica, but it is what it is. Let's move to Dutch league. So I'd like you, Jeroen, to get your insights on that one. And if you don't mind, if you can tell me a bit more about the previous Ajax manager, who is now Porto's coach. I know he failed at the very end, which it's not the best way to get into another club.
No, they were so far ahead last year, it wasn't even funny, and they fell apart. And I think, if I remember rightly, I think that they didn't win the last 9 games or something like that, and they basically lost at that point. They just fell apart. They totally fell apart, and they turned on each other as well. From what I'm reading as well, all the players turned on each other, typical in the Netherlands. The national team is known for it as well, and basically turned on the coach, turned on each other, and fell apart. So, in the Netherlands, it's going to be one of 2 teams. Ajax will come back, and then of course PSV are going to be in or around there as well. The other teams, that's a pretty competitive league. It's a more competitive league than maybe most people probably see. But the Feyenoord, they'll be there or thereabouts, but it'll be, for me, it's a PSV or Ajax, and it's probably going to be Ajax because of what happened last year. I think it's going to be like a motivation to them. We can't be that far ahead in the league and have some of the best players in the league and then fall apart. So, I think it's going to be between those two, PSV and Ajax. And I would say my money would be Ajax, especially because last year just was a disaster. So, yeah, funny that he's ended up in Porto because, like from what I was reading, he was nearly ran out of Amsterdam, and not a popular coach there at all. Now, look on the other side as well. Ajax are used to winning. If they don't win the Eredivisie, they will be. It's a bad year for them, right? So he's obviously going to be run out on the rail. But I think it's funny. Football is such a funny thing. There's no other industry where you can lose your job because you've had really bad results, and then some other club goes, do you know what? We want him. It's a funny industry, But yeah, for me, Ajax or PSV all day, every day. Feyenoord might do something, but I think it's going to be between those two. That's nailed on.
The other league that I find very, very competitive is Calcio. It's very hard to say who's going to win. I remember the years that was always Juventus, but these years are done. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that, and I don't see Juventus coming back. To me, like Inter will be the favorite, but last year, Arsenal, where am I going with Arsenal? Napoli ended up winning the title. I know, Benny, you are also very attentive to the culture, so I'd like to get your thoughts on that competition.
Yeah, like you said, it's a very competitive league. I mean, sometimes I think, back in the 90s, early 90s, all through the 90s, actually, Italian league was the top league in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, and it has remained the same, regardless of the administrative issues and all that happened early 2000s and all that. Now, this season, in consideration to last season, Napoli won it, and they won it just with a draw, because they were head-to-head with Inter Milan, and it was so strong. Atlanta also pushed so hard. Juve pushed so hard. So it's the same way we started with EPL that Italian league is. You can't really predict, say, this is the firm winner and say, this is my money is going to be on this team, because Napoli we all know, Jeroen. Yeah, I mean, Cornell, you would know with was your former Chelsea coach. He can explode anytime.
Conte.
Yeah, Conte, yeah.
Explode anytime, and the whole team is in disarray. So that could cost them Napoli this season. But I would say to you, I would look at Milan. AC Milan has really gathered few good players. Modric is there now, so it's a good addition to the team. Now, Milan, Inter Milan, Juve, Napoli, and Atalanta. If Atalanta can keep Ademolo look, it will be a good thing for them, because he's looking to leave. So if he doesn't leave, that would be good for them to give a good run this season. But it's dicey there for me to say specifically this is a team that will win. But if push comes to shove, I will say my money might be on Inter Milan and AC Milan to come first and second there. I don't see, Napoli will be waiting with it's like an eggshell. We don't know what will happen. It could explode. They've done so well. Conte over the years would do well first season. Second season, he begins to find a way to run out. So that might cost Napoli there this coming season. And as well, the players, your man Lukaku is also there. So You don't know what to expect from him anytime. So that's a different ballgame than Scott McTominay also was their best player last season. I mean, exceptional player there.
Don't forget as well, De Bruyne is there now too. Lukaku and De Bruyne together, that's serious. So
it is, but the thing is, it all boils down to Conte. What will Conte do?
Yeah.
How will Conte feel? Which side of the bed is he going to wake up this season? So it all boils down to Conte, what Conte can do. So you can wave them away because they are current champions. So it's a very competitive league, and it's one league I'm looking forward to watching this season more. This season than any other, to be honest, because it's going to be very competitive. And as well, Chivo is the new coach for Inter Milan. Chivo, he was a good player. So you're looking to see some vibrancy for some good football coming out of Italy this season.
Right. Let's move to the most important league. I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anyone here, but the most important league is the League of Ireland. That's number one. And we are the most important commentator in the whole YouTube sphere here, Cornell. So the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. The League of Ireland is looking very, very competitive this year. Shamrock Rovers have increased their points tally at the top of the table after outstanding performances this year. We've seen some very good, teams this year in the League of Ireland. Bowls are also up there. Derry's up there this year, so it's very, very competitive. Shells obviously are fighting for Europe along with St. Pat's and Drogheda as well is also up there as well. The relegation playoffs is looking competitive as well. When you've got Cork City that's not been in fantastic form this year due to losses of important players, Troost and Daniels, and obviously injuries to Keating as well, and Maguire going in and out of the team. Sligo has been in good, decent form as well. We've seen the very best of Owen Eldon as well, who's been attracted by the likes of Juventus, Club Brugge, and Championship side Norwich. Even though all three clubs, if they want him, they would have to pay at least 1.5 million for them to get him because of the amazing form that Eldon's been in this year. Waterford have been in and out as well too, despite that Almond's been in very good form this year, top scorer this season with 12 goals this season in the League of Ireland. Obviously, I think Michael Duffy for Derry's been in very good form as well. So, but I think prediction-wise for the League of Ireland, I think Shamrock Rovers will win it this year. I think there's no stopping Shamrock Rovers this year because Shamrock Rovers have just really shown the quality and the class. I mean, 2 wins this season and 2 draws in the last 5 games. They are the team that are not that no one doesn't want to be playing. But look, I think a run in Europe, I think will be the boost that they really, really need. And I think it would be very interesting to see where they go far from that and where it takes them. But I think there's just no stopping Shamrock Rovers this season because of the form they've been in this year. Derry City, do I think they'll be in the title race? Yeah, I believe they'll be in the title race, but I think they'll be fighting for a place in Europe with Drogheda. Bohemians, do I think they can really carry on the amazing form with the likes of with the front four they have of Clark and obviously Devoy in there as well. You've got Rooney in there as well. It's just and Tierney as well, who's just been in an amazing form. Derry City are also finding their feet despite they've added Okafemi in there as well, who's also been good, and Brandon Fleming as well, who's also been good as well. But look, I think the teams for Europe, I think Drogheda, will work very hard to get that European place because they were very undone by being kicked out of Europe wasn't the best thing that's happened to them, and they'll work very, very hard to get there. They will have competition, obviously. Shells and St. Pat's are the team to be looking at as well. St. Pat's obviously competing in Europe and obviously not doing very well as of late as they're playing today. But look, I think for league wise and the FAI Cup wise, obviously, I think I can see St. Pat's doing very, very well and finishing in a very good position. As for the for Shells, Joey O'Brien has been an absolute turnaround for Shells. He's really showing that he can be competitive with Shells and get the best out of those players. I'm not saying that Damien Duff didn't do it, but O'Brien is just an elite culture. I think he's really structured the way that how Shelburne needs to be playing this year, and as long as he can get the best out of them, then he'll be all right. For relegation wise, I think it's now nothing for Cork City. I think Cork City need to be in a position where they can really pull themselves out. But I think if they can't get any wins up to scratch, then I think you do worry about them. Sligo, I think, will be ones to watch out for as well too. I think Waterford as well. I think they'll finish mid-table despite John Coleman's, got the best out of Almond and Longeren, who've obviously scored combined goals together as two. But it's very, very competitive this year, and I think it's going to be between Bohemians and Derry to challenge for the title for me personally. But Shamrock Rovers is winning it, and Stephen Bradley has just really structured the way that Shamrock Rovers wants to be playing. So I think Shamrock Rovers will be winners of the League of Ireland and win their 5th consecutive League of Ireland title.
Yeah, and I was just checking here as you speak, Cornell. Shamrock Rovers is thrashing this Kosovo team. I can't remember the name. 4-0. So they will be in the final stage of the playoff. They play the Portuguese team with Santa Clara. Which is a huge travel because for people who don't know, Santa Clara is from Açores, which is an island right in the middle of Europe and America, a bit closer to Europe. So a lot of time on the airplane for the Rovers very soon. Before we get to the UEFA competitions, just to wrap up the domestic ones, the Belgian, Jeroen, I think the Belgian already started. I think it's like round 3 or round 4.
Yeah, it's just started now. It's literally like in the first or second week. Like there's not really a lot that's happened, but it's just started now. Well, for prediction wise, for me it's going to be Union Saint-Gilloise. They have their money. They have seriously good players, good managers. Brugge or Bruges, as you guys call it, would be their biggest challengers. They're a very decent team, and the last 2 years it's been more or less them. I see Racing Genk coming back into that title challenge too. I do think it's going to be one of either Saint-Gilloise or Union Saint-Gilloise or Brugge, but Genk will run them both. And I don't know if you know, but basically the Belgian league goes on for a certain amount of months, and then the top 6 goes into a playoff, and that is actually really good. It's very competitive in a way, but it means that they all play each other, and it's the winner of those playoffs that is actually the champion. So the season has become more or less kind of secondary, because you can have a team that does very badly but then just scrapes into the playoff and then they do really well. Or you have just the opposite. You have a team who's doing very, very well and then they get to the playoff and they fall apart. So it becomes really competitive when it becomes going to the playoff. I unfortunately don't see my team, Gent, doing better than maybe 5th. We're a new coach. We've got a lot of new players. We have Good Johnson. Actually, Idar Good Johnson's son is our main striker now. His second son. We've got some very good players, but they're very young. The coach is very, very young, very new to the thing. He's only in his 30s. I don't see them doing very well. I see them maximum hitting 5th. They'll play in the top 6. Yes, that'd be fine, but they won't go anywhere near the title. So it's only really going to be either Union or Brugge for me. And Union are owned by the same guys who own Brighton. they have the same mentality as Brighton. So Brighton use them as their second team, a bit like Chelsea use Strasbourg as their second team. So you've got a lot of the younger players that sit in Brighton that aren't getting a game in Brighton. They go to Union. And therefore, obviously, they have serious quality there. So, it'll be just down to those two, really. That's it. But watch Genk. Genk are a team that kind of, for the last number of years, disappeared, more or less. But they are ex-champions. They're champions maybe 10, 15 years ago. And they did very well in Europe for a long time. And they have restructured and they have brought in some very good players. And I think that they will challenge, but they won't win it. But yeah, it's a competitive league this year, which is good to see. It's not just the two top teams, but the other teams will give them a run for their money. But I only see those two winning.
Oh, so let's move now to the UEFA competitions. Let's start with the main one, with the Champions League, which I know it's unpredictable at this stage, but it's a World Cup, so I think players will have to manage their stamina, their energy levels to survive the season. At this point, Cornell, if you have to point out, let's say 2-3 favorites, who would that be?
I think favorites for the Champions League is going to be a very interesting competition this year because PSG are just looking so strong, and I don't think there's no way of stopping them right now with the form that they're in. So I think they'll definitely be the first favorites to retain the Champions League once again. Real Madrid, I think could be one as well. Even though I do believe that I think Xabi Alonso will find his feet again, and I think he'll get them dominating again. Third favorite, I'm gonna say Liverpool for me, because I think if Liverpool can really find that stride, which they already find the stride going forward, especially within the TK Verts and with Frimpong and Kirkes and things, and I think if they can boost up that back line, really strengthen it up as much as they can, and really get a striker in to come in, I think they've got a huge chance to win everything this year. So I think they'll be favourites to win the Champions League. Keep laughing, Benny.
Look, listen. The thing is this, right? Champions League last season and continuously going forward is a league star. So there will be lots of games to play, guys. There will be lots of games. And as I said before, injuries will happen. And players want to play in World Cup. Don't forget, next year is going to be World Cup. Yeah. Players want to play World Cup. So there will be twists and turns in this coming season, and due to that, I just don't want to just put it all in and say let's go all in and predict. But I think Italian clubs are going to do well this season in Champions League. I feel so. Italian clubs are going to do well this season in Champions League. They will do well in their pots, in their league pots, and they would come out. And when they come out to the quarterfinals, they'll come blazing. I feel as well in Premier League, considering Spurs are in Champions League. Don't forget that, Victor.
Don't.
Yeah. Maybe one or two clubs out of the Premier League will come out of there in Champions League into the quarterfinal as well. Then PSG, obviously, from the French league. Madrid would always. I mean, Xabi Alonso understands what it means to the club to win Champions League. He's a Champions League winner from Liverpool to Madrid. So he understands what it is for Madrid as well. He's going to push all out for it. And Madrid this season is going to be very good team to play and very hard to play, because last season what really hampered them was most of their defenders were injured, but they are all back now playing. Rudiger, David Alaba is back. They've added Trent as well to it. So, and this young boy from Bournemouth is also there now. So they have good defenders. And then going forward as well, you know how versatile they are. So they would push us very, very hard this season in Champions League. I mean, then we'll see what comes with other clubs here and there. But I think it's going to be a very interesting season in Champions League as well. Yeah.
Jeroen,
I think
your input.
For me, like I said it earlier on, like I think PSG, if they can keep that form going, I think for me they're the favourites. Madrid, you'd have to think that Madrid, with their kind of background and the way that they are they're perennially around in the Champions League, it'll be interesting to see how Xabi Alonso handles all these players and, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know if he's going to hit the ground running as quickly as maybe they think he will. But anyway, they will be around there. But I see a couple of different clubs who are going to push hard this year. Now, they won't get maybe to the final or they won't win it. But I would reckon that Athletic Bilbao will actually surprise a few people, I think. And then, like Benny said, there's going to be a couple of Italian teams. I reckon Napoli will if they don't implode, they will be in or around it as well. But for me, it's going to be PSG. And if they play like they did last year, they'll be well-deserved winners as well. They were incredible. So I think you asked earlier on, how do you motivate your players after you've won everything? Well, you basically say, we're going to do this again. And, you know, we want that winning feeling. We want this club is big enough for those wins. And I don't think there's anybody like Luis Enrique to be able to push his players as good as he did last year and to get the best out of them. When Benny was talking earlier on about Dembele, he was dropped. He was out, and he turns out Ballon d'Or candidate, you know, and he has that ability to get the best out of his players, and he has some really, really brilliant players. So I think for me, PSG are there around. I think they're the winners. That's my prediction. I think they're going to win it if they can keep that form that they had last year. They're unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, I would have the same understanding of you guys. I would say PSG are the favorites, but I would agree with Benny. I think an Italian team can surprise many people, and I would say Inter Milan or even Napoli, as Jeroen pointed out, they can easily be in the finals because maybe people don't take them seriously, and all of a sudden they are there at the final, and the final is the final. Everything is possible, as we know from yesterday. Talking of Europa League now, I don't want to talk about the Super Cup. I'm looking at the teams here. Pot 1, we have Roma, Porto, Feyenoord, Lille, Dinamo Zagreb, Betis, and then there are a couple of two potential candidates, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, why not, Stuttgart. Don't know where to start. I'll start with you, Cornell. Who would be your nominated candidate for Europa League?
Europa League, as I said on the Champions League, is going to be very competitive this year. There are some outstanding teams that I think will be favourite to win the Europa League. Definitely, Roma will be the first one because they're playing some very good, decent football. Obviously, I think with all due respect, I think Nottingham Forest, I think will be. And I'm going to say it with all open chest. I think Nottingham Forest could be there because Nottingham Forest are just an outstanding team. Their form that they produced last season, I think they'll do it this season, especially their back line. When you got Milovic in there, you got Morello in there, who's completely playing absolutely fantastic, and the reason why Nottingham Forest's back line is just absolutely solid. You've got Nico Williams, who's running down the wing crazily. You know, you've got him as well. Morgan Gibbs-White, obviously, never seems to amaze, despite we all thought he was going to move to Spurs, but it didn't happen. But look, I think Nottingham Forest, I think will be in and around there. Aston Villa, yeah, I think Aston Villa are the team that no one doesn't want to be playing. They did very, very well, which they did in the Champions League to get where they are. But I think Villa, will be up there as well. So I mean, there's some good European teams as well. I think that will be. I think Fiorentina will be up there with the form that they've been in at the moment. But I think it's going to be very, very competitive in the Europa League. But I think Roma just has so much firepower, and I think there's no stopping them this year.
Yeah, there's a massive difference when it comes to the points. Roma has 104, and next one is Porto with 79. There's a massive difference, and that's very telling how favorites. I'm surprised to see Porto number 2 here. I'm not used to that. I'm used to see Porto in the Champions League around pot 2 and pot 3, and now they are number 2 in this ranking. Jeroen, if you have to put money on the Europa League, which team would you pick?
I think for me, it's going to be Aston Villa. Aston Villa have done very, very well last year. I think they have an exceptional manager. Sorry, Benny, but he came to Arsenal way too early. But since he was at Arsenal, everything he's done very, very well. Emery is he's exceptional, and he has some really, really, really talented players. And I think Aston Villa will be in or about at the top. I would say that'd be the team that I would say they could do very, very well there, because he seems to also have the knack to in sort of cup competitions. He does very, very well, and I think he's an unbelievable manager, and he has a lot of talent sitting there in Villa Park. So for me, that's the team I'd pick out of that group, and that would be the team that I would say would do very, very well and possibly win it.
And I agree with you there, because if you look at UEFA League, Europa League, right? He owns it. I mean, if you look at the history of the championship, he's the manager who has won it more, so he knows how to win it. And another thing that will work for them is that if you lose out in Champions League, you're not going down to Europa League. So that is good for them, So the teams there are the teams there. You're not going down to go play Europa League. So which is good for Villa. I think I would say Villa and Porto for me.
And Porto, did you say? Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
No. Yeah. Not with that. Not with Villas Boas. I'm sorry. No. Until Villas Boas is there and it's all about him. No. I can't see that happen. He won the Europa League actually here in Dublin. I remember I moved to Dublin that year, and I'm very thankful for that. But I think him as a president, it's all about himself. I don't like it. I don't like that. That's not how you manage a club, especially because he's a man of the club. He's not there for money. Actually, he doesn't need money. That man is very wealthy. He's not there to build a career. He loves the club, but I think he loves more himself than the club, and that's very wrong if you are at that position. So sorry, no.
Do you think because he was a coach, he feels like he knows more? What's your idea?
Look, Villas Boas is the kind of guy who thinks he knows more about everything than everyone. Okay, that's him. That's how he is. So he wouldn't be happy to have someone more experienced with him than him seated on the bench, and that's the reason why he doesn't bring someone who has been around the block. He's a snowman. That's what he is. With some complex of. Some complex. That's a problem. Actually, other than Porto, what did he do? I ask, what did he do as a coach? He failed at Spurs. He failed at Chelsea. I think he won some competition in Russia or in China. That's it. What else did he do? Nothing. So, I mean, he did very well with Porto, and I'm very thankful for that. But other than that, he finished his career as football coach. I don't know. He was maybe around 42, 44. That was it. So, no, I don't know what portfolio he has. He won an Europa League and the Portuguese League. So I think that was it. So, not that impressed, And the team didn't play that well. There are fantastic players on the pitch. I think he was also lucky. He wanted to be the new Mourinho, and Mourinho is unique, for good and for bad, as we know. But Mourinho is unique. He is what it is. I mean, we can also talk about him, but Mourinho, we need to give him credit at least for his past. Maybe not for his present, but Mourinho here would be part of football history. Villas-Boas, I'm not sure. If he quits the Porto presidency in 5 years, he would be a footnote on football history. I'm sorry. I don't have any personal problem with Villas-Boas. I want to make it clear here, But that's just the way I feel about him. I wish at the end of the season he will prove me wrong, and I'll be very happy. Okay, but as of now, that's how I perceive the way he's conducting the club. Yeah. So moving to Conference League. So if I look at the teams who are already qualified, which will be in principle the favorites, we have Fiorentina. Actually, there are no qualified teams, but there are teams from top leagues in Europe. We have Fiorentina, we have Crystal Palace, we have Rayo Vallecano. Yeah, those will be the main teams from the main leagues. Yeah, any team you would pick from those three, Jeroen?
Well, I think that Crystal Palace, right? Well, one, they're going to be very annoyed about the fact that they've had to drop into the Conference League, and I think that's quite unjust. I mean, they did very well last year. They should be given the recognition for that. But I think Crystal Palace are one of those teams that in the Premiership flatter to deceive. So they seem to be able to do it when they need to do it. If they can hold on to Eberechi Eze, if they can hold on to a couple of Wharton, if they can hold on to those players, I think you might see Crystal Palace doing very well there. And again, they seem to be a team that's well suited to cups. FA Cup. They work well in a cup situation, and I think that they're a very underrated team. They have a very good manager and very, very good players. It's a very small squad. It's a really, really, really tiny squad. But I think that Crystal Palace could shock a lot of people. And the other team that I would look at there is probably Fiorentina. Fiorentina have that pedigree, that background. They're a decent team as well. Those would be the two teams that would be standout for me there.
What would be your bet, Benny?
I think the predictions might be a bit out in the open at the moment because we've not seen the pots and the table, what it will look like, because we might end up having Fiorentina and Palace playing themselves in early stage of the season. So yeah, but it will be two of them, looking at all the clubs in there from Astana and all those clubs, there might not be of any competition to them. And also we need to consider that if the guys in Europa League, they can't drop down, so which makes it open for other clubs to compete effectively in that side of it. But it will be for Fiorentina and Crystal Palace based on the stature and the name and the league which they play in. So yeah.
Yeah, there are other two here. I'm just checking. Strasbourg from France, Anderlecht, who I remember they were quite good 10 years back.
Austria Vienna.
Austria Vienna, yeah, there are a few. Shamrock Rovers. What about Shamrock Rovers, Cornell? How far can Shamrock Rovers go if they get to the group phase, Cornell?
I think they can go really far. this year. I think they've got the team, they've got the quality, they've got the squad, especially going forward in their midfield. I think keeping their best players fit, I think, will be very, very key and very important for them. I think Shamrock Rovers, I think, have a very fantastic structure for them to go as far as they can. And I think when you've got Josh Houlihan at that back line, you've got Roberto Lopez at the back there. You've got, so many good Adam Matthews, obviously Ed McGinty has been in very good sensational form, despite that he got a lot of criticism when he first signed for Shamrock Rovers, but he's really gone from strength to strength. So I think as long as they can really find that sort of rhythm to go further throughout the competition, I think they can really cause a lot of upsets in the UEFA Conference League. And I think the UEFA Conference League really suits Shamrock Rovers on how they want to go and where they want to be. So I think why not? I think Shamrock Rovers have the chance and the ability to really showcase their talents.
Stuff. Let's finalize the competition analysis with the World Cup. I know it's too far, as Benny mentioned. There are injuries. There is so much stuff happening in between. We don't know exactly how the squads will look like in June in Germany. But at this point, if you have to name a favorite, Benny, who would you pick?
France, Argentina. That would be on top of my head now. I mean, it all comes around. It depends. It will always be France, Argentina, Brazil, but Argentina looks good because they have good quality players. Spain is another.
Yes.
Spain is another because of the amount of good players they have. They have good players at the moment. Very wonderful young lads who are playing good football at the highest level. I mean, if you look at what Cornell had mentioned about Barcelona, it's just Spanish team. And if you look at Arsenal as well, what remain the Martin as well. These guys are quite good. They are coming thick and fast. So I would say Argentina, Spain. I wouldn't rate England. I'm sorry. They wouldn't come anywhere near the World Cup, to be honest. They'll fizzle out like they always do. Yeah.
And apologies for the viewers, it's not in Germany. That was the last one. The next World Cup is in
it will be
the
in
US.
America. Yeah, it will be in America, Canada, and Mexico. So as well, it's going to be hot. It's going to be a hot
Big
World
time.
Cup. Big time. So all that considered. So Argentina and Brazil, it might favor them because of the climate. But it will be an interesting World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah. And it might be disrupted, like the competition that happened there last summer, no, because of thunderstorms and that kind of funny events. So there are also some psychological aspects that I think need to be very, very well managed by the coach. I would say, Cornell, you already provoked that England won't be able, especially in that weather. Can England just surprise everyone here and be happy again in the American land?
Yeah,
it's not coming home.
We'll see. We'll see, Benny, because Thomas Tuchel is a proven winner, and he knows how to win trophies and how to get the best out of players. He did it at Chelsea, despite the owners didn't give him a chance and an opportunity. And right now, it's time for English football to start dominating the same way you see the England women. Everybody doubted them and said, "Oh, they wouldn't win the Euros." Yeah, what happened? They proved Spain wrong. The same Spain that was beating them all the time. Yeah, so that if they can do that, so can the men. So for me, favorites England's going to be favourites. And when they do win the World Cup and end that wait of winning the World Cup, I'm gonna wind you up, and I'm gonna all what you said is wrong. All what you said was wrong. So carry on doubting England, and you'll see. You'll see.
Far-fetched.
England's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Just like
because of that,
Benny, that Arsenal is gonna win a Premier League. You ain't winning no Premier League because Liverpool's winning that title again. And when they do, I'm gonna wind you up again. And I'm gonna tell you, I told you so, that Liverpool is being the champions of the Premier League and it's gonna win everything. Arsenal ain't winning nothing. It's gonna be embarrassed.
Liverpool win quadruple this season. That's what you said.
Yeah, Liverpool's gonna win the quadruple this season. Arsenal ain't winning no quadruple because Arsenal is like that every season. And you're saying that England ain't gonna win the World Cup. You're wrong. You're gonna see huge improvement under Thomas Tuchel.
Okay.
I like your optimism, Cornell. I like it.
I can agree with him with Liverpool, not England. England is rubbish.
I mean, look, listen. England got to 2 finals and 2 semi-finals. Yes, Gareth Southgate was a failure. Yes, he got the best out of certain players and he had his favourites. But you see Thomas Tuchel right now. Thomas Tuchel is a proven winner. And he will win the World Cup with England.
Not with national teams, with clubs, not with national teams. There's a massive difference. Look at what is going on with Pochettino with US at the moment. There's a massive difference when it comes to national teams and club football. Club football is the total football game. But national teams, you're depending on players who are on form. And how can you manage them within a week or a few days to bring the best out of them? It's a dicey one. And, you know, England has always come short and they will remain the same way in 2026. I don't see them doing anything better, honestly.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll have to have an episode on the World Cup.
So, for sure.
Yeah. I was not thinking of that, but now there's no way around. So, guys, please set up some time in June. Jeroen, your prediction for the World Cup at this point. I have the impression that you go for Spain. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think that they have the winning mentality. They have the winning players. They have an excellent manager who seems to be able to get the best out of them. They have the best style of football. A lot of them play together regularly. So unlike a lot of the other teams, they play maybe in the same league or they play, so they know each other well. And I just think that for me, it's Spain all day, every day. France will run them close to a certain extent if they don't do the usual France thing and implode. But it'll be France and Spain final, Spain to win it. That's for me. But the other thing that we've, maybe and Benny alluded to it as well, like maybe, the temperature is going to be horrendous. Also, the travel is going to be horrendous. So they're traveling from Mexico to the States to Canada. So I think that's going to have a huge impact on teams. And I think that the conditions, those kind of heat conditions, are going to play a massive part in it. But for me, it's Spain. And also for me, they have the best structure, best team, I just see your message, Cornell.
Yeah. I've got to head off. Just got to make a phone call.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me on. Yeah.
Good.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, William Cornell.
Thanks,
we'll
Cornell.
speak to you on the World Cup.
Yes. See you later. Thank you.
Take it easy. See you. Yeah. I for me, Spain are a team. like PSG last year, they are a team, and that makes a big difference. And they play some amazing football, and I think they have to be in or around the favourites. And one team I can guarantee you is not going to be anywhere close to it, and I love that, is Belgium, because they will fall apart as they always do. And they have world-class stars, and they'll have amazing players, and they cannot play as a team ever. So they won't be anywhere close to it, and it's hilarious.
But
I would go, and it's not because I'm Portuguese, but I would go for Portugal. I think Portugal can win this World Cup. I have the impression that, I Portugal or Brazil. And I'm not a big fan of the Portugal national team. I watch it, but I'm not crazy about it. But I think they can do pretty well. Not because they won the Nations League, but I think the team is compact. Ronaldo kind of find his spot without being all the time number one. So maybe that combo can surprise people, and they're not taking very seriously by the others, and that's something that you can take advantage of. If not Portugal, I would say Brazil or Argentina. So I would say Portugal, Brazil. It would be my two, and it's not because I'm Portuguese, not at all. I'll put my money.
You have to think that Ancelotti in Brazil, that has to be also a big.
Yes.
That has to be a big one, because you'd have to put Brazil, and they haven't been for quite a while, but you'd have to say that they have to be somewhere around the favourites. But Ancelotti at the helm, I know his results have been a bit patchy, but you'd have to put them in around. And Argentina are always going to be there or thereabouts anyway, and they're not an easy team to beat either. But I just think that Spain have that team mentality, whereas other teams have the bunch of individuals mentality. Do you get me? Whereas Spain really play as a team. So it'll be an interesting one though.
I want to give a shout, which will sound ridiculous, but I think if there is any country that could push the elite countries, it would be Morocco.
Yeah.
They're cool, yeah.
Morocco, for the first time, might bring non-African country has been to the semi-finals before, but I think Morocco might do it. Morocco might break that jinx in 2020.
Yeah.
Well, Morocco were exceptional in Qatar. They were exceptional. So, that'll be. I'd love for them to, because they were so good that time in Qatar. But I think I would agree with you, Benny. I think Morocco could be a whole outside, a dark horse, if you like, not to win the final, but to push.
No. Yeah. I think they will shock so many teams in the World Cup. I mean, Hakimi in good football. Diaz in Madrid is playing good football, and they are gathering more boys from France as well, and Belgium and Holland at the moment. So they'll be there. They'll be there.
Yeah. Okay, let's do rapid fire here, just to wrap up with some fun.
Okay.
I thought Cornell would join, so now I need to share all the fire between the two of you, if you don't mind. Talking of dark horse, Jeroen, dark horse team in Europe this season.
Athletic Bilbao.
Benny, biggest flop signing so far?
So far, I wouldn't say. Oh goodness me, that would be a good. This is a good one. Biggest flop. I don't know which team to pick, but gosh, maybe this will be hard. I don't know. I feel Sesko, there will be so much pressure on him. I don't know how he will feel. He will get on Man United. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Jeroen, top goal scorer in Europe this season.
Top goal scorer.
Yep.
Scott McTominay. Yep.
In Italy.
Yep.
In Italy.
Yep.
Okay.
Watch him. I
You know, I'm scored a hat, so I'm fine.
I think he is going to. Yeah, that's the one I'm going to go for. Yep.
Benny, first manager to get sacked in the big leagues.
Amorim.
Or Amorim.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Actually, I had a football coach on my podcast who named Amorim among the top 5 coaches. I was shocked. I think he's good, but to be top 5,
No.
I think he's far from that. Top 10, maybe, but yeah, not at this point. Jeroen, team most likely to surprise in the knockout stages of the Champions League. You mentioned Bilbao already, but
I think I'd have to go with Bilbao again. I think that they will surprise. A lot of people won't see them coming, and I think they'll be the big surprise. The other team that I think they would be my favorites to be the kind of the dark horse. Yeah, Bilbao. Yeah.
Benny, player of the season in Premier League.
Player of the Zubimendi. Zubimendi.
Jeroen, best young player to watch this season.
Best young player to watch, is it?
Yep.
I would say João Pedro. I think he's going to be either him or Liam Delap. Both are seriously good signings for us, and I think they both young. They're the guys I would say. Yeah, João Pedro. Yeah.
Benny, biggest upset you see coming in the Premier League?
Crystal Palace getting into top 4.
That's a good shout. That's a good shout.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
Like that. Jeroen, one bold prediction no one else will agree with, just in general.
Ireland winning the World Cup.
Do that, Cornell is not here. Yeah, but that man, he knows the League of Ireland from inside out. No, it's impressive.
Incredible. Yeah. He's like a knowledge factory. You know,
he knows more of the League of Ireland than half of this country, and he's plays in the UK. You know, it's hats off for him.
I met a guy in Abu Dhabi, a taxi driver in Abu Dhabi last year over the summer period, and this guy was telling me everything about League of Ireland. I told him you're betting man. He said, yeah, because he bets on all these leagues, and he knew even the Division 2 clubs in Ireland, which I never knew that existed. It's crazy.
Benny, Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
Jeroen, from a spectator point of view, if you could only watch one competition, the Champions League or the World Cup, which one would you pick?
World Cup.
World Cup. Good. Yeah. I think it's more Rio, end of the day. That's my own perception. It's more what it is. It's more sports. Still, I think. Benny, VAR, keep it or scrap it?
Last season, I've scrap it.
I love it.
Yeah, that's coming from an Arsenal fan. Jeroen, your dream signing for your club, Chelsea, right now?
I would have to say, of the guys he signed, so João Pedro, but Jorel Hato, is the guy that I'm really happy with, because this is a guy who's been on everybody's radar for a long time. So Jorel Hato would be my answer for that.
Good. Benny, biggest underdog story in European football?
Biggest underdogs?
Yeah. Biggest underdog story, yeah, that you remember. I have one, but I'm not sharing. I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Biggest underdogs. I'm trying. Okay, FC Porto winning the Champions League.
Yeah, I was not thinking of that, but okay. I was thinking of Leicester in the Premier League.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Leicester City winning Premier League was. But FC Porto, come on. Mourinho.
Yeah.
That was
something. That was something. That's a bit. I think the fact that we beat Monaco, with all the respect from Monaco, in the final, didn't make it a wow.
It doesn't.
Monaco had a very strong team back then, huh?
Yeah,
not Monaco these days.
But
so it's not.
If you look at the teams you played against to get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exceptional.
Yeah.
Exceptional.
Yeah. Man United, when Man United was another team. Yeah. Yeah. Jeroen, which stadium in Europe do you most want to visit?
Most want to visit. Actually, the new stadium in Ghent, because I haven't been to the new stadium. I was always at the old stadium, and so the Hilamco Stadium in Ghent, I haven't been in it yet. So, that would be the one that I'd like to see most.
Benny, one player you would ban from ever diving again.
Oh my goodness! Where did you get all these questions from?
I love it. It's brilliant.
No, I'm not. I'm not disclosing the sources just in case.
Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Huh?
Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah, talking of retired football players, Jeroen, if you could bring back one to European football, who would that be?
Didier Drogba.
100%.
100%. I would have him. Oh, and Alan Shearer as well, if I can have two. But Didier Drogba.
I like that.
100%.
Yeah, I like that. Benny, better feeling. You're getting very tricky ones. Sorry, this is it's just a coincidence because Jeroen was out. Cornell was also on the pipeline. Better feeling, last minute winner or penalty shootout victory?
Last minute winner. Yeah.
Jeroen, for you, best football chant you've heard in person?
England versus Ireland a number of years ago. English fans shouted at Irish fans, half your team is English, half your team is English. The Irish fans responded straight away with, we don't pay no poll tax, we don't pay no poll tax. Awesome.
Benny, one rule you would change in football overnight?
Handball rule. I
Handball
believe.
rule.
Or ball to hand.
Okay.
If the ball touches your hand, it's a foul to me. The old school way. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, natural, nothing. If it touches your hand, it's a foul. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Final question for you, Jeroen. Most overrated team in Europe right now?
Right now, overrated.
That's a tough.
That's a tough ask. Overrated team. That's it. maybe Roma.
Hmm.
I think Roma would be for me. And I know it's not necessarily Champions League, but they would be the most overrated. Yeah, that would be the thing for me.
Okay, final question of the night for Benny. If you could watch one game from history live, which would it be?
Oh,
UEFA Champions League final 98, Madrid versus Juventus. Go watch it. Classic. Edgar Davis and Seedorf got themselves, they were kicking themselves from one end to the other. Like, the Italian legend ref, right?
Yeah.
He called two of them together to ask them what is going on. They should stop kicking each other. They shook hands. These are best friends. They shook hands and went back and started kicking each other again. It was the best. And then the goal that was scored by Zucker. Best game you can ever watch. I still watch that game anytime I'm just want to watch a game. I go back to watch it.
What was the final score? I can't remember now.
1-0.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that was the Champions League before the World Cup France '98.
mm.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. Nice,
Yeah.
specific memory straight away. I like it.
Yeah.
I remember every bit of it, to be honest. It was one of my best games I've ever watched. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So thanks, guys, for your insights on the upcoming season. Well, I think there's a lot to watch. Maybe you can catch up at some point just to recap, on what we discussed in August, because some things we got right, some things we don't. But that's how football is. There's no crystal ball. There's only a ball being kicked by a few lads on the pitch and people enjoying. That's it, and that's the beauty of it. So I want to thank you for the insights, and we definitely will need to meet for the World Cup. That's after that exchange with Cornell. We need to meet for the World Cup. That's
100%.
something we cannot avoid. Yeah.
100%.
Enjoyed it. Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks a million, Vitor. It was a good evening again.
So for those who stay with us, I want to thank you. Please make sure to press those 3 buttons below. Subscribe, share, and like. That's the best way to distribute the content. And I hope to see you, everyone, very soon on the other side of the screen. So have a good evening, guys. Take care.
All right.
Yes.
See
Bye.
ya.